Welcome to Paint Zoom.
Hello.
Oh,
Hi.
Okay. Was it you, Louise, who suggested still life?
probably. You cursing my name.
No, I'm cursing John's name because he suggested bottles.
Ah.
Guilty as charged.
Guilty.
I mean, you can make any kind of still life. You know, you wouldn't have to have a bottle in it.
Yeah, they always have a bottle. And a flower.
Yeah, but sometimes they have like a dark bottle or, you know.
Yeah, easier.
Yes, easier.
A dead fish.
And well, and a skull.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I did do that. I did one photograph with a little chicken, metal chicken thing, and wishbones, and the burnt sienna jar with a feather in it. I don't know whether I put that up or not. And I called it Still Death.
Yeah, one museum I went to, there was this lovely still life, and it looked like fruit and stuff. And I went and looked closer, and there was these bugs and spiders all over it, hidden in the. It was really cool.
Yeah.
Wasn't exactly still with all the bugs, but
Right. Well, you're supposed to have a memento mori, which would be
a what?
skull. A skull
Ah.
to remember death.
Oh, that's what that means?
Yeah. Remember, thou art dust, and unto dust thou shalt return. So anyway, we're not doing.
I'll settle for dust.
Yeah, we're not doing that kind of still life. We're doing leaves, feathers, and bottles.
Oh.
And I search for
The
pictures
worst of
that look
all
like that
worlds.
on the web. And what are you finding? This is being silly.
A time in a bottle. Oh,
You could
If
just
I could say
Here,
time
Win,
in a
that sound.
bottle,
yes.
the first thing that I'd like to do.
he does that so that I don't sing it. Okay, so I took this picture with this bottle and these leaves and these are chicken feathers,
Oh.
and I got them there. I got them in a craft pack at one point, so there they are. So we'll do this. What is it? Foam core. The white foam core that I did. Oh, he's giving me Albrecht. Ah, there we go. Is he on camera? There we go. So we've got the reflection of the paper coming up. This is the reflection of the paper. And then you have the reflection of the background coming down. And of course you have refraction coming here that you don't actually see the background, but the background's down here. So I don't know how to move with this.
And it's also, it's got the rotation problem.
Yeah. Okay. So that's Albrecht. Albie.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
How did you do that background?
Oh, I masked the top of the bottle with goop, and then I put down a green, red, gray, and then I put salt
Oh, it's salt.
Ah.
because I thought that the flat, when I had it just gray, it looked really boring. And I said, okay, so I want some texture so that it won't be so boring.
Is that like the big fat sea salt or salt shaker salt? Or?
It's sort of medium salt. It's a coarse sea salt, but it's not.
Wait, let's see. One moment. Sorry.
It's not super fine, is it?
No, it's not super fine, but it's not rock salt either.
Oh, I see.
It's sort of
There we go.
medium
There
salt.
we go.
And I put it on with the grinder, which doesn't actually grind because it's already fine enough. And I have it on the loosest thing, so it just comes out. There's no point in having it in this grinder. Just we happen to have the grinder. So
There we go.
okay, so I'm using my regular paint box, and to me, this glass is a little bit blue. It's not my hunter's green. Hunter's green? Hooker's green. There's a little bit of blue in it. So not that much. Not that much blue. Oh, maybe. Do I have a piece of scrap? I had a piece of scrap. There, I have an envelope. Yeah, that's pretty good. Don't put it in your coffee. So a little more green. Oh, way too much. A little more blue. A little more water. And I'm starting with the bottle because I want my first coat to dry as much as possible. Okay, here goes nothing. It's very interesting doing more than one of the same thing, because you discover things doing the first one that you then think you're going to incorporate in the second one, but then you're a little bit cocky, or I am anyway. So it doesn't necessarily work out like that. You know, when we first started Paint Zoom, I always painted without my glasses. We've been doing COVIDs for long enough for my eyes to get worse. I think this brush is crummy. I'm getting little critindens. Since my leaf is also green, I'm not worried about going over the line with the green, but I do want to get all of the bottle. I think some of my salt got on this. Okay, so now I want some real green, and this is my green left over from peppers. And like in peppers, I'm adding some red because that leaf is not exactly green. In fact, that leaf is getting toward brown, toward yellow. But I'll start out with green. Okay. You know what I think I wanted to do? I think I wanted to do the thing of making the whole thing wet and then adding paint. But I didn't start out like that. So I'll have to just correct it now. Why is this wire like this? Keeps grabbing my brush. Now, because I learned my lesson when we did the leaf all by itself, I'm going to make my credit card things very light. What is on this brush? I'm not going to use you anymore. Oh, you know what I might try? No, that's too icky. I'll just do the credit card. Very gently, more gently than that. So have people thought about what they want to do next?
I think, I don't know if you got them or not, a bunch of Asian art, but not spring things, like fall things on gnarled limbs and mountains off in the mist. Just kind of a practice on some of this, but I loved the landscape that was shown earlier. That's gorgeous. That would
Yeah.
be
Okay. Anyone else? Denise should be here. She did a beautiful landscape. That's too wet.
What about sort of fall things, like all the different gourds and pumpkins and
Ah.
I'm trying to think what's around at this time of year.
Yeah, gourds and pumpkins. Oh, I'm not liking this at all. Let's try a little yaller. That's too bright. Why is this going outside the lines? I don't think I did that. Oh, it's not. It's making its own line. That's what it is. Because it's drying like that. I have way too much color in this leaf. I think I'm rushing. I'm going to just blot it. That's better. Still way too blue here. There should be some blue. Get a little more green.
Well, if we do pumpkins, we're following the curriculum in early childhood. They're doing pumpkins right now.
That's about right.
But what's wrong with that? I mean, it's good.
No, I said that's about right. The October challenge for Capitol Hill Arts League is haunting.
Well, then we could do the skulls, right?
That's right.
We could practice doing skulls for our
For our big memento mori still life.
Yeah.
When is Day of the Dead? When is that coming?
Day of the Dead.
That's about this time of year.
Yeah, that's
Is that All Saints Day or a different?
no, I think it's right around there though. November 1st is All Souls, All Saints.
Yeah.
I think it might be November 2nd. I hit it too hard with the credit card.
It says Day of the Dead is the 31st of October to the 2nd of November.
Ah, the whole.
That's the whole thing.
Ah, we don't confine ourselves just to one small bit here. There.
Well, if you can manage to get a reference picture, how about a picture of ghosts?
That's a great idea, John. Of course, one
Get
could
a
do
seance, get that going.
spooky castles and things too.
Haunted houses.
Yeah. Well, we did a whole Halloween show, which is still up on the web. And Erin did a wonderful book, accounting book.
It's fabulous.
How did your nephew like that, Erin?
He liked it. He's, I think, a little young. My friend was like too nervous that he would like, because the pages, how I got it printed, were pretty thin.
Ah,
She reads from afar.
It'll be good again for this year, won't it? So,
well, counting never stops. You always have to count
true.
for the rest of your life. So, well, I'm not crazy about this light leaf. I think I want a smaller brush for that end. Maybe my little one that I love. Okay, a little bit of green, a little bit of yellow, a little bit more water. And I've got some hair. There we go. More yellow. Okay, well, it's not great because the veins are too dark. Okay. Right down there. Not succeeding in looking much like a fold. We'll leave it for the moment. And look at our feather. So here I want burnt sienna and blue. Which before you get to gray gives you brown. Okay, so this is all pretty dark.
Is that your smallest brush?
This is the liner or rigger. Yeah, and I didn't actually do the one that I did before with it. I did it with a 4. And I think maybe, I don't know. And then I came back with this at the end. And I think maybe that's a better idea, is doing it with a slightly larger brush to begin with. Because in here, this is really quite solid. You know? So where is that brush that I used? That's a 6. Here's a 4. And the thing I like about this particular brush is it has a nice point. Yeah, I think I got these feathers for Mardi Gras one year. Didn't use them. And then these are more beigey. Yuck. Let's let that dry. See where we go from here. So let's go back to the bottle.
Do you have some goop on that bottle? I see the white.
Yes, I have goop on the bottle.
Okay.
I have goop here and here and here and a little line here. And I tried, and we'll see how it works. I have a very, Chris is doing this thing. Well, I can't, then it just gets in the way. We need yet another person, Chris. This shadow is very uneven. I mean, this is a harder bottle than the blue bottle because the blue bottle is better glass. You know what I mean? In other words, it's smoother, it's got less imperfections. So the reflections are warped by the imperfections in the glass. The other thing that I found that was interesting in doing this bottle is that the very white whites are often right close to a dark. And so that's interesting. Not picking up. Okay. When I first started doing watercolor, my favorite brush was a 4. And now I've gone to larger brushes, and the 4 seems small. So, you know, it's interesting how your tastes change. There's that, there's that. Another one. Now there's this over here, which is a little shreddy. I was going to put goop there and didn't. Oh, that's too wet. Let's take some of that away. There you go. Now it's not dark enough. It runs in here and becomes almost black. But it's just a hint. It's just a hint. That's not dark enough. So fall fruits in Japanese, huh? Or Chinese?
Anything Asian.
Anything Asian.
Well, I'll try to
Social
send the,
studies. Have you got a social studies class that you're?
no, I just like the,
Aesthetic.
aesthetic of it. Yes, thank you. Kind of, nothing's really straight. Everything's kind of organic and curvy and
Misty.
misty.
That was.
Yep. Pinterest, and I found a bunch, and I thought I sent them to you, but I guess they didn't get through, so I'll try again.
I remember Denise doing something like that early on when she first came.
Uh-huh.
And she was
But
not satisfied with it, and I thought it was gorgeous. So we'll have to get her to come if we decide to do that.
Yeah.
It doesn't look as green on the TV as it does in person. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know about this. Huh. Not real happy with this. I think I overgooped. Okay. I'm going to let some of this dry and go work on the shadow. Oh, I've got look on the shadow. Ah! Chris, could you get me that clean water over there? Oh, I got look on my paper. Yeah. Let's get rid of my look here. Okay. Shadow. Whoops. Ah! I got the wrong little button. I'm messing with black and red instead of green and red. So I'm trying to do my right things with gray. How's that? That's a little too green. Now it's a little too red. That's pretty gray. And I should wet it first.
Why did you decide to wet that first?
Because I want it to be very thin. And I want it to spread. And so I'm just going to dot it near the center and hope that it spreads just enough. And we'll see. So I'm dotting.
Finds where you want to find like where it to go in the end.
Yeah, but the edges of the shadows are always fuzzed. So if you dot your, I mean, this is a theory. This is supposed to work like this. If you dot your paint in the wet, it should be fuzzed as it moves out, which doesn't always work. So then you have to go back. Oh, I see. I missed a whole thing there. Then you have to go back and take away and fuzz it at the end. And now in the center, it's sort of greenish. It's our very, very, very light green. But I don't want it too wet. And what's this? This is green. And it's got sort of that kind of thing going on. Yeah, it didn't quite fuzz the way I wanted it. Here we have some green. Whoops. Green happening. That's a little too heavy. Okay. So Chris is telling me it's 6:52, which is a problem because this is nowhere near finished. But what I would still do. Oh, I've lost the head. Look at that. I've lost the tip of my brush. It's in the water. I don't get to use that brush because it fell off the thing. So I get to use this. This is this fan brush, which is not as fine as the other one. The other one is finer. Yes, it is. This is white gouache. And as you see, I am so cheap. I've cut open the jar, the tube, and I'm using the stuff in the top. And to do the after feathers, even that's too much. And where else did I want this? Oh, in this shadow. There's this round shadow that's hardly anything. The fan brush is nice for that. And for these feathers that, bits of the feathers that are not very defined.
So when you pull off the gouache, I mean, the goop, will it look about the same as what we're seeing?
Yeah, or it'll look, I did the same thing with this one. It'll look more like that.
Okay.
Because then what I do is I take a wet brush and I fudge the edges,
Mm-hmm.
because the goop makes a sharp edge
Yeah, I know.
that I don't like. So I take a clean wet brush around the edges. And then the other thing I was doing this when you guys came on, I put more little feather fronds with the liner, the rigger,
Mm-hmm.
to make it, I don't know where it got to, with this one, to make these little tiny lines, which makes it look like you're very precise, but actually they're just flicks, but they're so fine that people think that you really worked at it. So these were all goop. And I would still do more, messing around the edges to soften up the edges. And right here, I have goop, but it still needs to have an edge. So little fine lines convince people that you've worked really hard and diligently, but you might not have. You might just have flicked some on. So there's little fine lines here in the reference painting photo. So I would do those with this little bits of white, and then I'll do these kinds of things. But right now it's too wet, so they're not. The lines are not fine enough. You see what I mean? How the lines are fatter than they would be, and less fuzzed. So that's as far as we've gotten.
That's fabulous.
Well, on the couch. Gets to be couch time. Aha! Just looking at you, kid.
Thanks, Celine. I've got to go as well.
Okay. Take care.
Good to see
Me
you.
too.
Okay,
Take
goodbye,
care.
everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Have a great
Bye.
weekend.
And you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.